So my name is Chris Bailey. I work with the Edmond School District. I'm the operations manager there, which means I really don't have a whole lot to do with using Alexa in the classroom in my day job. This is just something I like to do and talk about. So hopefully that's why you're here. I wanted to, first of all, share the slides with you. If you want to, on your device, go to this link. It'll be along the bottom, so I'll keep going, but you'll be able to take this with you. Briefly wanted to share who I am. Again, Chris Bailey. I'm operations manager, so in Edmonds I oversee networks and servers. I also oversee the support team, and I was just curious. I know that this is flagged as an instructional session. Who's in the room? Are teachers, TOSAs, that sort of thing? Technology department staff? Okay, cool, awesome. So curious, who knows right now that they've got Alexa devices or Google Homes in their school system somewhere today? Cool, maybe a third of you. Awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit about privacy with Alexa devices in particular, but Google Homes, listening devices in general, and then we're going to do some playtime, if you will. So hopefully you have a device with you. We're going to do some building. If you want to, you'll leave today with an Alexa skill in hand pretty easily. It's pretty cool. So if you have any questions or any ideas, or you want to share something, please just jump in, interrupt. I don't mind that at all. If you'd like me to use the microphone, I'm happy to do that. We're a pretty small room, so I think I'm probably okay, but want to make sure that everyone can hear. So let me know if that's a problem. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about learning targets, what I hope that you leave with today. We'll talk about privacy, and then we're going to use a tool called Alexa Skills Blueprints, which is an Amazon product. It's a free product that we're going to play with. We're also going to work on a sample project together, something that I envision a class of students could do to build a skill together. We're going to talk about a web-based tool called VoiceFlow and what it can do with Alexa and Google Home. Might show you a couple example skills just to kind of get some ideas started, and then you're going to have some time to build and play. And I apologize that there aren't tables in here. You'll be able to scrunch up on your knees if you want to do that, but we'll make do. And then lastly, anything that you're able to put together, I'd love for you to be able to share it with me and with the rest of the group. All right, any questions? Sound good? Awesome. So, learning targets, what I hope you leave with. The ability to explain the privacy implications of using a voice assistant in the classroom. I know that this is something that a lot of us have talked about. There's been some ACP threads on it, and definitely something that we should at least be aware of. Also, describing what Amazon Blueprints and VoiceFlow tools can do for you, as well as building skills, possibilities and limitations of each of those tools. In addition to that, working in groups to share ideas and contribute to a story. My hope is that we can do that together today. I've done a couple different sessions like this. The kind of rigid tech person in me doesn't feel comfortable with the kind of chaos that this leads to, but we're going to go with it. We're going to see how it goes. And then lastly, brainstorming on your own in a group, building skills on your own using VoiceFlow. So, voice assistants and privacy. This is one that has had a lot of dialogue on ACPE. COSN put together a brief on privacy and AI or voice assistants in the classroom. So if you're a member of COSN, I would encourage you to check out their tech brief on this. I believe it's a 2-page document, and it lays out pretty clearly their understanding of the federal guidelines and the privacy implications of FERPA and COPPA. But my perspective on it is that based on what I believe is the FTC has stated, audio recordings that contain a child's voice are considered personal information. That means that COPPA is in play. So that means the parent permission, 13 under, all that. That's a big deal. And for me in Edmonds, that means that we do not condone the use of any voice devices in classrooms. That doesn't mean that they're not out there. If I were an enterprising teacher and I really wanted to use it, it wouldn't be hard for me to tether it to my phone and to use it anyway, right? But they're not on our network. And when I'm asked, I say, I'm sorry, but today we can't support them, and here's why. Any questions on that? So depending on how they're used, audio recordings may also contain FERPA records. If I, as a teacher, am talking to a student about an assignment they completed, that becomes a voice recording of an educational record. That means that their parents have the rights to access that record. I have no way to give them that audio recording. It wouldn't make sense for me to, as a teacher, risk having that be a FERPA record that a parent asks for. So again, another federal implication for voice recording devices in a classroom. From my perspective as the tech guy, I'm not comfortable with the potential risk or the liability that presents. There are other states, I don't believe Washington has specific laws on this, but some states have very specific laws regarding voice recordings as well, and they are even more restrictive. So I guess high-level perspective for me and on behalf of Edmunds is these are not condoned devices in the classroom for day-to-day use. Now that said, what I wanted to talk about today is not let's use Alexa in the classroom, it's let's build skills for Alexa in the classroom. I see those as two different things, and it can be an either or. Make sense? All right, I know it's early, so we'll keep going. When in doubt, check with your attorneys. Some attorneys have very specific guidelines for how this is used. I have not gone to our risk pool because I've not felt strongly enough to push them on it, but definitely make sure that whoever is representing your organization is comfortable with what you're intending to do. So Alexa Skills Blueprints. Skill Blueprints is an Amazon offering. I believe they released it about a year ago, and it allows you to use Amazon created templates to build skills, and it takes minutes. They've got templates for a number of different things, and I think I've got a video queued up I'll show you in a second where they describe kind of how they intend for those to be used. But if you are interested in creating an Amazon Skills Blueprint based Alexa skill, you can do it in no time at all. And again, there are templates, so it is it's not like a free-flowing skill. You need to find the right template for what you want to do, but definitely a lot of possibilities with these.
Creating your own personalized Alexa skills and responses is simple. Select your blueprint template by visiting the Alexa Skill Blueprints website, blueprints.amazon.com. There you can browse more than 20 skill blueprints across multiple categories. Let's create a custom family trivia skill. Each blueprint page has additional details about that blueprint template to help you get started, including how to make a skill, how to try your skill, and a sample skill for inspiration. Select the Make Your Own button to begin. Each blueprint comes with pre-filled content that can be used as is or customized as you like. For this family trivia skill, you can customize the experience. Here, you can edit how Alexa hosts the game, including sound effects, Alexa's greetings, and responses. Select Next once you've customized your content. Now you can name your skill. Use simple, memorable words that are easy for Alexa to understand. Then create your skill. Your skill will be ready to use within minutes on all Alexa-enabled devices associated with your Amazon account. Once your skill is ready, ask Alexa to open your new skill. Alexa, open My Family Trivia.
Welcome to My Family Trivia. In this game, you'll be quizzed on some of the interesting facts that you likely didn't know about.
Can you share these skills with other accounts?
Yeah, so recently, I think in the last 3 months or so, Amazon changed blueprints to allow them to be shared. There you go. So yes, it didn't used to be possible, but they changed that recently. So not only can I create a skill and share it with a person, I believe I can also now publish it to the store itself. So if I've created, using a blueprint, an ed tech quiz skill, right? I could now publish it as an Alexa skill to the store that anyone could access. So, yeah. So let's do it. If you have a computer, a mobile device, you can go to blueprints.amazon.com now. It does require an Amazon account, which shouldn't be a surprise. And from there, you can explore the different templates that Amazon has created and walk through the process of building a skill that uses one of those.
Can we get back to that URL?
Oh, certainly, yeah. It's blueprints.amazon.com. Yeah. And just like the video said, once you're logged into blueprints.amazon, you'll see a page full of different templates that you can look through. I created a babysitter-based skill just so that I could walk through the process. I've not actually given the babysitter the information she'd need to use it, but there's a lot of possibilities just with the templates. I believe they started with 5 or 6 templates, and now they've got 15 or 20, maybe more, and then different skills based on those as well. So. Anybody finding anything interesting? See any possibilities for using a blueprint? Yeah? Okay, I'm seeing some head nods. What looks cool? What do you think you could go home and use today that's based on a blueprint? Anything? Pet sitter? Oh, cool. Awesome. Anything else?
Picking dad jokes.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Daily briefing.
Oh, yeah?
There's a little briefing blueprint.
What does that do?
It allows me to take basically different news feeds and compile them into a briefing.
Oh, huh.
And I haven't finished it yet. But
Sure. A brief tangent on that one. I have a Echo Auto, and it's been really interesting. I have half a dozen Amazon devices at home, but my commute to work, I now listen to my daily flash briefing, which includes NPR and Jimmy Fallon's daily monologue and NFL sports update. So I kind of get a curated news broadcast each morning on my way into the office. My commute's about a half an hour. I get through all of it about 25 minutes later, so it's a great way for me to get the news that I actually care about on my way in. But anything else that you guys have found there that looks worth exploring, spending more time with? What was that? Oh, uh-huh. Yeah, cool. All right. We're going to set blueprints aside and keep moving forward. But definitely when we have more playtime here in a bit, you can definitely refer back to this if it's something you want to keep working in. All right? Sound fair? Okay. So this interactive story concept, again, I'm not a teacher, so full disclosure on that, but I have 2 kids at home, and we play with Alexa and build skills and stuff together at home. And when I think about how I could use this as a teacher in a classroom, again, not using an Alexa device, but going through the process of building a skill, what I've thought through is it'd be an interesting and fun process of making a choose-your-own-adventure type story with a room full of kids. Because each kid could ultimately have responsibility for a piece of a story, but it could all be knit together into a skill together where another kid somewhere, wherever they live, could walk through my class's story, right? And as the story grows, the number of kids involved gets smaller and smaller until eventually each student has their own ending, if you will. All right? So that's the concept. The ground rules are up here. So we're going to pretend that we're a 3rd grade group of students. We're going to stay positive, no violence, less. Please engage and participate. This is a lot more fun when everyone gets involved. All right? We're going to start out doing this all together, and then depending on how it goes, we might do a bit more offline than online. All right? So to do this, we're going to use a tool called Mindmeister. It's a mind mapping tool. It's web-based. There's a free tier. That's why we're using it. If you're in the links and you want to go to the link, I believe this interactive story link up there will take you to our Mindmeister diagram, if you will. And the way that it works is we're going to start with a story concept together. Then we're going to end up within the kind of top opening, if you will, with 2 choices, just like a choose your own adventure book. We're going to make both decisions, and then each one is going to lead to another decision and then another decision. Does that make sense? And the tree can be as big or as small as you want it to be. The last time I did this in a session, we ended up making 3 decisions before we ended our stories, and so we ended up with like 12 different possibilities, I think. We'll see how we go, but this is the concept for how it will look as we go. We'll have an opening, and then 2 decisions, and then 2 more decisions, then 2 more decisions. And this was one that I made with a team at work, where we were kind of going through this same process together, and they wanted to do it about getting ready for my day and eating breakfast and things like that. So that was our story, but we are going to do whatever you guys want to do. So let's get into Mindmeister. And we need a story starter. So pretend
Jumped into a pile of hay.
I jumped into a pile of hay.
Yeah, figure.
I was shocked to discover a needle. Who knew? There it was all this time. Again, this should lead to a decision.
So I grabbed the needle.
Yeah, you began to. And started.
But what should I do with it? Should I
Oh, get some socks.
knit some
I
socks?
guess you don't knit with a needle, do you?
Well, if it's a knitting
Or
needle,
it might be a knitting needle, or pop a balloon. So again, we're starting from, we just made our decision. I decided to pop the balloon because why not?
finding a needle in a haystack.
I was surprised that it contained, what was inside the balloon?
Money.
Money. Lots of money. Yes. But what should I do with my money? I could buy more needles,
Buy some Amazon stock.
but maybe I should get some Amazon stock instead.
This is a 3rd grader. Shouldn't it be like candy or puppies?
Hey, if they follow the Seahawks, they know that Amazon stock is the gift that you give to your offensive lineman, right? That's what we do. But maybe I
Get
should.
that flash briefing.
Yeah, there you go. All right, and then over here, leaf A becomes this. I decided to knit some socks. Excuse my typing.
Seahawks socks or Amazon socks?
But what should they look like? So many decisions. Maybe I should go with some Seahawks socks. But I could also make some, what was the other? Amazon socks instead.
Amazon socks, Amazon stock.
Yeah, you got it. All right, so are you guys getting the concept? Pretty straightforward, I know. Has anyone been able to get into this Mindmeister with us on your computer? What I would love to do, if you're willing to try it with me, is to start by dividing the room in 2. So you guys are going to work on our socks story, and you guys are going to work on our balloon popping. All right? Does that make sense? So the way it's going to work is you're going to get into this Mindmeister, and one person will start by doing what I've just done, and then we'll create 2 branches. All right? So the first branch here will be that we're creating Seahawks socks, and the other one will be Amazon socks. And then the group will divide in 2 again. And half of you will work on the Seahawks sock story, and half will work on Amazon socks story. And then it'll branch off into 2 more ideas, and then the group will divide again. So the team that's working together is going to keep shrinking. And depending on how the time goes, we'll hopefully get to where everyone's involved in, pretty closely involved in an ending. All right? So we're going to turn our chairs, work in a little group. I guess it's not a little group yet, but we'll get to little groups. And then I would love for there to be a leader that arises for the first to kind of take charge. And then, again, as it divides, we're going to need more people jumping in and getting into the story to actually create their leaf. Okay? So let's do it. So face in, and if you've got a computer out already that's on the Mindmeister, please volunteer.
And I don't have my glasses, so.
Can you, like, pop out of that bubble?
Yes.
So it's actually...
You got it. And I'm actually going to go back to the link. Actually, if you've got the presentation open, you should be able to get to that okay. That's the best way for you to get to it. So.
You join us, right?
We're time traveling. We're observing.
Ow. We're not participants you're looking for.
These are the board.
So we're balloon poppers over here, right?
What is it? Socks and socks.
So who's got the Mindmeister open in this group?
Socks and socks.
Nobody yet.
I've got it on my phone. I gotta get it.
Oh.
Okay, that's me.
You guys are balloon poppers. I believe they're making socks over there. If you want to go make socks, you're welcome to do that. We're popping balloons, and I think we found some money, right? So what we've got to do is figure out the two next stages. We found money. We're either going to buy more needles, or we're going to buy some Amazon stock. So divide up, and half of you are going to work on we decided to buy some Amazon stock, and that led to a couple decisions. And the other half are going to work on we decided to buy needles. All right? So that's where we're going next.
Well, then those should be the
Wrap it up. Sorry, I didn't bring any devices with me, so.
Yeah, I understand.
There is that. There.
Alright, are you guys going to do the balloons or just stock on them? Or the needles or stock on them?
If you
We'll
do
do
a slash, I can
stock.
give you the number.
Our group's
Yeah,
little.
That's all right. Hey, it's early. I understand.
1, 2, 5, 6, 8.
Those guys are bringing in over there.
2, 1, 5, 1, 9.
So I decided to buy some needles. What are we doing?
Alright.
Just put them.
519 question mark. T equals
I mean, it's providing Amazon stock, so.
capital XE4 F capital Z O J3 capital CR. I can see it, I just can't have bubbles.
It just puts me into the home page of the Yep, that's what I did. And it redirected me
Have you opened up his slide deck? And then
Yeah,
click his
I'm
link?
on slide deck.
Then if you click his interactive story link?
Do you have to sign in to say?
You don't need to sign into Mindmeister. You can create an account, but you shouldn't need one.
So on the
How do you say we're stuck?
If you click outside of the bubble, it should automatically save what you've done.
But I could also make some errors.
Oh, I see. Great.
First, I had to find another needle.
circular story.
I went to my knitting supplies. Found it. I went to the next page. Luckily, there was another needle there.
Yarn.
Buy yarn or
Spin the hay into yarn.
Definitely trying to come up with the
said, hey, Rocky, what's going on? How do you
hey,
make
it's
this?
hay.
I said, hey. You said, hey.
double entendre on the word yarn.
We did lose a bubble.
Chris is editing it into that. Or Chris wrote it. Remember it won't let through.
Chris is torpedoing us with shit, man.
Are you Chris?
I'm Chris.
You killed the bubble.
I just logged in. I haven't done anything. Did it go away?
Yeah, and it says you're still editing it.
Can you, did you type in there?
I did not.
Who typed your story? Oh, she did it? For the mobile phone? Yeah, there's an undo button there, so maybe she can try to restore what you lost there.
It says that Chris is in it.
I understand.
Oh no.
Well, they've already split off one time.
Right?
They have more computers.
That's why I had my Chromebook out so I could get more of you guys going, but
To undo, please leave brainstorming mode.
Alright.
It's telling me
I don't
to
have my
please
glasses.
leave brainstorming mode.
yeah. Yeah, you bet.
That one? Nope.
I think it was either tab or enter.
No, it's not.
Neither of those doing it for you?
There we go.
There.
Tab.
Good.
Tab
Good,
it
good.
is.
Excellent. No, you're famous. It's great.
There we go. It's attempting to follow you.
Excellent.
Alright, I guess we gotta retype this. I don't know who killed it, but let's retype it. So we're gonna sell stuff.
So are you in it?
I'll type.
Okay. So we are making a...
We decided, right? We decided.
Yes.
What sort of imaginary thing would actually... Are you a Robert?
Five times.
So we're working on that.
I typed,
We lost our original bubble.
I started to type, and then it went, somebody typed over me again. Again with the swirl.
I'm curious. I've closed that up here. We'll see if that had anything to do with it. Give that one more try.
Ran out the door.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for working through that.
Yeah.
I think we're on the right track.
I think it could work. Okay, how do we create a branch?
Tab key, I believe, will allow you to branch off from there.
Okay.
Oh, there we are. Yay. Two stop choices. I like to see that, so maybe that. Maybe the person.
We bought our Amazon stock in like 1990, so.
Oh yeah,
So now we bring
you're doing well.
We're selling it
two
for
levels, right?
Oh, perfect.
And
That's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Nice to
We're buying
know.
a drone swarm.
Oh, even better. Yeah.
Not just a drone.
Well, yeah. Because one is one ever enough, right?
More is always better.
You
So
got
from
it.
here, do we break off
yeah, so
into
like.
two groups again? So then we're gonna decide what the swarm is gonna do. We're gonna attack small children. Alright, so.
I'm going to the store to buy yarn.
Okay, I'm gonna change the color.
Ooh, sounder scarves. I like that. Nicely done.
I was the only sounder here, but
Yeah.
I won out.
Yeah, hey, that was great. And we get some guys back from injuries here, but
Excellent, we get Robert.
let's see.
Okay.
You get the time travel.
So how many branches are you?
If you guys want to start looking for endings, I think that'd be great. You guys are doing great. They had a technical glitch or two over on that side of the room, so I want to give them another minute to try to progress a little bit.
Is there a way to combine back to an idea at the end? Bring two branches back together?
Yes, I mean you can certainly do that with your story if you want to, and when we get into voice flow, you can do the same thing with Alexa pretty easily, but that's up to you.
I'll leave it like that. I tried to add a relationship back to another,
Yeah.
and it kind of was
Sure.
awkward.
Yeah, I hear you. So if you guys want to start finding natural endings for each of your branches,
Oh, so we could actually, we don't have to.
they don't need to end with happily ever after, but ultimately we do need to have endings. Yep.
Okay, so we don't have to split again. We could actually.
Yeah, you could just figure out a way to tie it up. You bet. So if you guys want to start thinking about natural ways that each of your branches can tie off and be an ending, that'd be great. Okay?
The puppy. We could just put it back together.
Yes, sir.
I went to that, and he took me here.
Yes.
Want to do it one more time?
What I have found is going to here and then clicking my link seems to be more effective. So it appears as though you have an account though, so that may be coming into play too.
I do.
I'll pop right back over.
All right, yeah.
I know that you guys had a little bit slower start on this side of the room. If you want to start thinking though about how the branch that you have created could be tied up and have endings, yeah, we're gonna come back together in just a couple minutes.
So it can't be lost.
However you want. You be the you're the author here. There you go. Hey, you got it. Oh, capital N.
Huh?
Capital N.
Capital N. Did I miss that? L9JNX.
There's no colon. There you go. Always something.
Minor details.
It's early yet, so.
I could make a new bubble for you.
Would you mind? That would be very helpful.
There you go.
Save it. Simplistic.
Yep. Oh, disappeared.
All right, so there's that part. So skip ahead a couple slides.
There you go. You want to new pumping?
Oh, there it is. Thank you.
You bet.
All right.
Okay.
Everyone was together.
I think what they got is wrapping in them.
We'll make.
So.
And I click on that.
You have very.
See if that gets you there. Yeah, that looks like that did it.
Yeah, that. Why did they not let me?
I don't know. Who knows?
Okay.
There.
You're gonna get shot.
All right, so each of your branches are getting tied off neatly. Excellent. Good deal.
So Friday kind of doing small.
We'll come back together in just a minute.
Big.
What's that? Yes.
He has grown.
Yeah, this group's been busy over here. They made billions.
Okay, so the copier makes.
Nice. Okay. So what do I just do? I just add to it?
Yeah, within each group, they're building out branches of the story, and then now they're wrapping those branches up.
Okay. Oh, I did something.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
That's how we accidentally met. That's right. Maybe.
So the puppy, we name it Mabel, and
Yes, I do.
Yeah, please.
How does, when you make your selections on this, how does it know which way to go?
We will talk about that. This is actually just a mind mapping tool. This is not skill building yet. So this is more what I would do with students to prepare for building a skill. Yeah. Again, not a teacher, but I feel like this is a valuable process for students.
This is awesome.
And then what we're doing here is directly transferable to what we're going to do with Alexa. So.
I have a teacher. I'm not in the classroom right now.
Okay, sure. Awesome.
I like this.
Yeah, good. The next part is where it gets really cool. So.
Well, no, there's one on that short times where you can say,
We have more time.
let's get to work, Alexa.
So once you've got your stories all wrapped up, if you could start to reorient your chairs back towards the front for a bit, that'll tell me that you're ready to move on.
thank you very much for taking over.
Well, they used to be in a group because I changed to sing around my phone. And it brings where the
I ended up with puppies and two of them.
And billions of dollars?
No.
Oh.
I sold them.
Oh, you sold.
But money can't.
Yeah.
I don't get any happiness from money.
Yeah. Great
But
point.
puppies and girls.
Yeah. Good. Very good.
But money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy you puppies and girls.
Yes, exactly.
The coffee's right outside there.
Oh, excellent. Good deal. All right. Good. Once we get to the skill building, there will be time for people to pop out and do whatever they need to do, coffee and whatnot. So, good. All right. Are we about ready to come back together? Possibly. We're getting close. All right, so the next piece that we're going to talk about is a product. It's called VoiceFlow. It's a platform. It's a platform that's designed specifically to build Alexa skills and Google Actions, I believe is Google's word. It's a tool that was built by some young guys that are actually they started by wanting to build a platform where they could make interactive stories. And they didn't intend for their product to be a platform at all. As they refined it, they concluded that the interactive stories market maybe wasn't going to be where they would actually be able to be a viable company, but that by making a platform that others could use to build Alexa skills, they're actually making something really valuable. So it is a product as a paid tier and a free tier, and I'm pushing them pretty hard to try to build an education tier as well, to be able to, for example, allow us to send student log information and meet all the compliance stuff that we're trying to meet in Edmonds. But it's called VoiceFlow, and I wanted to start with a brief kind of introductory demo video that they put together, and then do a little bit of walkthrough together, and then give you guys some more free time. All right? So before we do that, the Mindmeister exercise, again, there's a question on it. That's not skill building yet. That's really more about story concept building together. The reason that I want us to use that tool versus a Google Sheet, for example, is because the visual interface of that is somewhat similar to what we'll see in VoiceFlow. And so it starts to get our heads around the idea of branching off different concepts, which is where VoiceFlow is going to come into. Any questions on that exercise, though? I appreciate you guys humoring me and going through that. One of our groups, they became billionaires, and then they got a lot of drones and some puppies or something, so that was pretty exciting. But any questions before we move into VoiceFlow? Okay, great.
Hi there, this is Braden here from VoiceFlow, and first off, welcome to VoiceFlow, the best place in the world to build powerful Alexa skills without having to code. Now, I know this is your first time, so let's actually go through a quick walkthrough of the platform so I can show you around. On the left here, you can see all of the different blocks that you can drag out onto the canvas to actually build your Alexa skills. And these blocks can be connected together using connectors. We can do that. And we have tons of different blocks available, from very simple and sort of basic blocks like speak and audio, which allow you to have Alexa to say things to the user or to add audio snippets, all the way down to more advanced blocks, which use things like variables and APIs. But we can get into those in a later tutorial. So what I actually want to do is, on this first session, I wanted to create a simple Alexa skill where we're going to have a choice between a left and a right path, and we're going to have the user make that choice. So let's do this. So I'm going to delete my block here just by selecting on it and hitting delete. And you'll see here in the blocks menu, I have the option to pull in a speak block. So I'm going to pull that in. I can plop it right in front of the start block. Now, as you probably noticed, the start block is on every single project and it cannot be deleted. The start block is the first block that opens with your Alexa skill. So when your skill opens, the start block is where it starts. So we want to connect this initial speak block to our starting start block. So now the conversational flow from when your Alexa skill launches is going to come out of the start block and go into this speak block. In the speak block, we can go over to our right. You can see there's a little panel here that I can open by clicking on the block. And we can actually tell Alexa what to say to the user. So I'm going to say, hi there. Welcome to VoiceFlow. Great. And now Alexa will actually say that to the user. We can have Alexa say more things by adding speech here, but for now we only want her to say that. And we can even choose what Alexa's voice sounds like. So we have tons of different voices here, and I like the Brian voice. Okay. Now we want to have the user make a choice. So we're going to say, do you want to go right or left? Ask that question. So now Alexa is going to ask the user, do they want to go right or left? We've laid out the options. So now we're going to pull a choice block out. And choice blocks allow us to make choices. Now, just because this might end up being a big project, I actually want to label my block. So I can go up here to choice. I want to say, choose right or left. You'll see here it actually updates the label of the block for the user. Now, we can add two different choices, one for right and one for left. So let's add two choices, and you'll see numbers 1 and 2 correspond to the numbers on the block, numbers 1 and 2. So let's pull it to speak blocks. Pull these in, and we can actually move multiple blocks at once by holding shift and clicking. So let's do that. We'll move these down. And now, what we want is in this choice block, if the user says right, or we can add a variation by adding another line. such as go right, then that's in the number 1 choice, so they're going to follow the number 1 path up here, and we're going to label this user goes right. We're going to have Alexa say, you went right. And here, we want to say user goes left. User goes left. And we want to have Alexa say, you went left. You went left. Now, we're going to connect up the number 2 to the left. We'll say left or go left. There we go. That is a fully functional Alexa skill where we're going to ask the user whether they want to go right or go left. It's super simple. If we want to upload this to our own Alexa device to test, we can hit upload to Alexa, and we'll confirm our upload. And that's it. It's already updated on Alexa. So I can simply ask Alexa to launch the skill by the skill name, and we have tons of tutorials on this, so if it's not working for you, don't worry, we'll find a way. But we can also test it in our voice flow testing tool. So we say test, and we'll say start from beginning, and I'll say, hi there, welcome to voice flow. Do you want to go right or left? And we would say right. You went right. And that's it. So we have our first Alexa skill. Hopefully that was a super simple example. We have tons more videos in VoiceFlow University, ranging from basic topics like testing on your device or publishing to the Alexa store, down to more advanced topics such as variables, loops, and even the mysterious flow block, which is a very powerful block. Okay guys, I'm always available if you ever have any questions. Our entire VoiceFlow team is. We cannot wait to see what you build with VoiceFlow. Thanks so much. We'll see you in future tutorial videos. This is the
So we're going to go to voiceflow.com and we're going to play around for a while. And you need a Google account or a VoiceFlow account to log into VoiceFlow. And then if you want to upload a skill that you build to your Alexa device or publish it to the store, you'll need an Amazon account in order to do that. Voiceflow.com is their URL. And they recently made a change that allows you to publish to Google as well for Google Actions. So if you're a Google Home user, I use Alexa at home, but either one can be created using this tool. You can actually create for both at the same time and publish to both places. And they've got tutorials that walk you through that process as well. As you saw through their canvas, the process is not unlike what we did in Mindmeister, where we're creating a new block, and then obviously this tool has you link them together. But what's neat about VoiceFlow is there are many different types of blocks that you can use. You can use a block that pulls in the current day of the week, or a block that plays a certain type of music based on someone's mood, you know, all sorts of different possibilities. But I wanted you to be able to just log in and play around. So if you have questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help. I can show you some examples of things that I've done with my kids if that's interesting to you as well. But let's start with just seeing people that have a mobile device can get logged in and play around a little bit. Okay? Any questions on this, on what you've seen with VoiceFlow so far? Okay. I'm sorry?
Coaches using this in the school right now?
Nope.
Okay.
Can you go back to
Yeah, certainly. The one that was just up? That one there?
It's right.
No. Mm-hmm. I don't believe it's actually creators on the membership. I believe it's what you create an account on their platform. And you can either use your Google account or
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yep, you got it. So my kids built a Minecraft story that we're going to hear what's most excited about. It was something plus the little two together where it's Minecraft players, they're watching the world and crossing the game. We made one, actually his first skill was a soccer drills skill where Alexa said walk him through doing his toe touches and different things. And that was the first one we made. So, handful and ones we did one 5-year-old now one that came out with some ideas and like boards around some ideas. So he brainstormed with some ideas that he was just random inspiration. So one single skill that single key and go for it. So
Yeah, I read about that. It's
yeah. Yeah. A lot of possibilities. Yeah, he's not able to drag the speak block out onto the dashboard. Yeah, okay. less had asked about skills that I've worked on with or without my kids. Here are a few of them if you're interested. Unofficial Minecraft Adventure is the one that I made with my 8-year-old. Seahawks Lost Recovery is one I did on my own. I didn't need my kids' help for that one, but it helps you reminisce about the good old days and hopefully get through that loss without too much grief. When the Echo Auto came out, I was trying to think about, well, what is it that's going to make the Alexa in the car be really compelling and useful? And so the car games was the one that I thought it would be interesting to have a skill that could help that long road trip be entertaining for the 8-year-old in the backseat. So that's Scott. I think it's got like 10 or 12 games in it, but the more you play it, the more games you can access. So again, it's just kind of a fun concept. Things like that get pretty complex to build in VoiceFlow, and once you guys have had a little bit more time to play, those that want to, I'm happy to show you kind of under the hood on any of these that look interesting. The degree of complexity is massive. This one, for example, is start block and then a random block and then 5 different speak blocks. Whereas that one, I think there are 10 different skill pages, and each is completely unique from all the others. So a lot of possibilities, but a lot of complexity there too. Variables in particular has a lot of capabilities. For example, I can remember someone's name and what's your name, and then it remembers it next time you come. I can also keep track, for example, of scores. So if I say you got that correct, you got 100 points, tomorrow you come back and hey, you got 100 points yesterday, and say you got 300, so it can do all that stuff too. Really powerful, but again, complex. Sometimes it makes my brain hurt.
Payment block on the user.
Yeah, it's true. There's definitely possibilities for generating revenue with Alexa skills, and as a skill builder, I've not generated revenue from it. I entered into several contests, and that's the only place I've actually made any money on it. But yeah, exactly. You got it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Any questions about anything that you want to see in particular? Or anything that you're working on there that you want to talk about?
You say check them all out.
Yeah. Points checker is a skill that has like 200 foods, and the Weight Watchers points for each food. So you can ask Alexa how many points is turkey breast, and it'll tell you. A server reboot is a gag skill that it was actually one of the first ones I made. So when you're at home and bored, ask Alexa to start a server reboot and just see what it does. It's not suitable for work, but trick ideas I think was something where it was supposed to give parents ideas for how to do like April Fool's jokes on their kids, things like that. Again, my kids were involved in that one. I already talked. Go ahead.
Sorry. Do you have analytics on it?
Yeah. So actually, I'm glad you asked. So we looked at blueprints and we looked at VoiceFlow, but the non-VoiceFlow mechanism for creating skills involves using the Amazon Developer Console. When you log in to VoiceFlow and you link your Alexa account, you're actually going to the same sort of place. And I'm going to show you here real quick. So this is my Amazon Developer Console view of all of my Alexa skills. So there are probably 20 or 30 here. And if I just pick one out, so this soccer drills is, I'm sorry, do you have a question? Please. Okay, so soccer drills is one that my 8-year-old, when he was 7, wanted to make. So this is the first skill that he built, and the analytics data that Amazon gives me is the number of users that have accessed it. So unique customers over the last 7 days is 9. If I go to custom range, I think he made it in like January of 2018, maybe February. So if I go to the beginning, if you will, and then fast forward to today, it's going to take a second apparently. He's had 873 unique users over the course of the 15 months or something. He was really excited when he reached 100. So it's kind of cool that he's got that many people that over the course of that time have used it. Skills that take off can have, as you can imagine, 5,000 in the first week or within a couple of weeks' time. I've not built any of those, but it's just something fun that we do.
Skills that you build in VoiceFlow, do they show up in that list?
They do, yeah. Yep. And prior to VoiceFlow, there was a tool called Storyline that we used, and that tool's gone away. VoiceFlow began in October, November, and we've been using it since then.
It's clicking on the upload Alexa button that publishes.
Correct. Exactly right.
But then you have to take a further step to publish those so the whole wide world.
So with VoiceFlow, you can upload to Alexa, and then there's a publish button within VoiceFlow as well, and that will publish it to everyone else within Alexa.
And you can only publish, you can only like use it yourself or publish it the whole wide world, not like send it to my brother or...
So the way that I would do that, if I built a skill with VoiceFlow, is Amazon allows you to test a skill. So a skill that I've uploaded to Alexa, but that I have not published, either because I don't want to or because it's not ready yet, I can go into this test, maybe it's in distribution. But there's a mechanism where I can upload email addresses of Amazon users that want to be able to use a skill before it's been published. And that's how I would go about that.
And it stays with those users, or is that like for a certain amount of time?
No, I believe it is for a certain amount of time, now that I think about it. Another thing I think is worth mentioning is that what we saw in VoiceFlow as a way to test the skill is text-based, whereas within the developer console, once I've uploaded to Alexa that first time, I can test it and actually interact with it with my voice and hear how it sounds. So if I'm playing with the different voices, like we saw in the demo video, I can go to the dev console and hear how those voices sound and make my choices about which voice I prefer to use. This is also where you can see if you're using a skill that has displays, or the Echo Show or the Dot, you can see what that display will look like within the dev console, whereas you can't see that display in a test within VoiceFlow. No, I believe all of the hosting of images, for example, this My Morning Helper skill is one that I made with the Echo Show in mind. It's a skill where a parent can tell the device, my kids have these 4 chores every morning, and it'll remind them and it'll check off a list as they're doing them. I'm still kind of developing it, but it has images behind it for every pane, if you will, and those are all uploaded to Amazon's S3 storage, which is a free tier. I think if I got to where I had thousands and thousands of users for a skill, the hits may result in me needing to pay, but I'm not at that point, so I'm not paying for anything today.
So I've got a sister that's a retired doctor. Bit of a control freak. So she uses my dad's Alexa to remind him to take his meds at a certain time.
Sure.
So if I give her the voice bar, she can take the control freak to the totally next level and have him confirm that he's taken it, probably produce it and have a report of this med taking history compared to taking his doctor at some point. And
Yeah,
so
you bet.
right?
Absolutely.
You can just go, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
And that could actually be really helpful.
Yeah.
So she was thinking along that lines about how to get your senior person to stay with the program, the
Yeah.
doctor stay out.
Yeah.
You could produce an actual app that you could get out that might be one of those hit apps that
Absolutely.
covers all the bases using the dot.
Yep, absolutely. The VoiceFlows are working on Google Sheets integration,
Take a real
so I
world
imagine
problem,
pretty straightforward.
somewhat annoying solution and
Yeah,
make it
you
into a
bet.
helpful solution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can really help. Absolutely. Also be a good candidate for a blueprint. Because I imagine a lot of people want to customize that to meet their needs specifically. Yeah.
Do you control plugins and stuff?
No. So integration with like Wemo, light switches, things like that, cannot be controlled with voice lists yet. They've talked about trying to integrate with IFT, which would open up a ton of possibilities. If this then that, and they've got integrations with over 100 different kind of third-party tools, but I don't think they're there yet. So what ideas do you have? What do you think might be fun to start playing with, or how do you see this being useful to you? Appreciate your example.
Well, skills learning payments.
Yeah, right? Exactly. You got it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, again, I've not made any skills that I'm getting revenue from the skill, but there are hackathons for different skills, and I was successful in a couple of those, so that's been a fun way to kind of motivate me to keep at it. Interestingly, Amazon sponsors DevPost hackathons. DevPost is an outfit that does hackathons for a number of different things. And I think the last 3 out of the 4 hackathons that Amazon sponsored through DevPost have been won by people using tools like this to build skills. And I think the last 2 in particular were won by people that use this tool in particular. So kind of cool that it makes making skills way more accessible. You don't need to have any ability to code a skill whatsoever in order to build a skill to be really successful.
Okay, so I also write just by downloading the Linux app on Apple, then the iPhones work with micro-apps as well, right? So the apps have access. So every phone, it doesn't have to be just Echo Dots and other devices. Anybody that you put through that access phone has a device.
Right, correct.
So there you go in terms of potential.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, that's true. For Amazon? Well, so I think Amazon and Google take different approaches. Amazon is really trying to get you to buy stuff with it, and Google I don't think is really that motivated, but what's the saying? If there's no product, then you're the product. So Google is interested because they'll get data from you, and they want to capitalize on that. And I think Amazon's interests are more like, I don't know if any of you are familiar, they came out with a camera-based system for fashion called the Echo Look. They were hoping that they'd become a fashion outfit where you take pictures of you wearing all these outfits, and then your Echo device is making recommendations for what you wear based on the weather and all these different things. I don't know that that's ever going to go anywhere, but I think their motivation is in getting you to say, Alexa, order more toilet paper, for example. And it shows up at your door via drone tomorrow or in half an hour, right? So, right? Yeah. Well, that's where you need the Roomba with the little thing on top. Yeah. Maybe someday. I don't think I'll invest in that one, but too slow.
The geek factor is very.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
There's like
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. You got it. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So if it's okay, I'll log into VoiceFlow and show you guys a couple different skills just so you can see what they look like once they're quote unquote done. Alright, so it looks like since I started using VoiceFlow versus Storyline, I've made maybe 12 skills or so. And as I said, the Seahawks loss recovery is a pretty simple one. I've got like an introductory statement here, sorry the Seahawks lost. and then it randomly selects one of three kind of nostalgic. But remember that Super Bowl win? You know, that was nice. Or remember that time Hasselbeck said he wanted the ball and we were going to score? You know, like the good old days, right? And then it randomly then goes to one of three encouraging, keep your heads up, right? So pretty simple skill. It used random block and speak block, and then it just kind of led via the dotted lines where I wanted the conversations to go. This particular skill doesn't have any user choice in it whatsoever, doesn't have any variables in it whatsoever, so as far as the simplicity goes, this is pretty basic. This is the last one that my 8-year-old, who was at a computer by himself, I was in the same room, but he wanted to make, and he did this by himself, so it's a little bit scattered, but he wanted to make the kind of choose user choice skill, and he wanted to use sound effects as well. So I'm actually going to go back to the dev console. This is called Are You Sure? And I'm going to test this just so that you can see what that looks like as well. We'll see how this works. Start, Are You Sure? Looks like you still got some work to do. What it? Yeah, exactly. So the concept is, do you want to fire torpedoes and explode? And then the user says yes, and he says, are you sure you want to do that? Is that a good idea? And then you say yes again. It's like, well, I don't know if that's wise. You know, you probably shouldn't be firing torpedoes. And then you say yes again, and then it has the sound effects of the torpedoes being shot and the big explosion. So.
Are you able to use their recorded views as well as the left?
So yes, the mechanism you would do that would be to record it offline, or then upload the audio to a source like Amazon S3 storage, and then you can reference it within a block as an audio file. Yes, technically possible, for sure. So then on the more complex end of the spectrum, this skill is the car games one I referenced, and so there's my home block. It starts by detecting whether the user has been here before. If it's their first time, it goes one direction, and if they've been here before, it goes somewhere else. It does that by keeping a variable and counting every time the skill's been opened. So if it's the first time, they get the welcome, this is how the skill works, go have fun. If it's the second time, say, hey, welcome back, you just earned 3 new games, here's what they are, and then it moves on, and it again detects based on how often they've come. And then each of these level blocks is what VoiceFlow calls a flow. A flow is like a separate pane. So I'm going to go into this level 1 flow. And so level 1 flow says, welcome, thanks for coming, do you want to hear your choices? Here they are, and then these are the 5 games that you can start with if you're a first timer. So it teaches you what they are and how to use them. And then if you say I want to play alphabet chant, for example, that leads you to a different flow, which has its own canvas, and this is the actual skill. Again, the skill itself is not complex, but the backstory, the logic that connects it all together, that's where it gets a little bit messy. That's where you have variables involved and you detect things that are happening and then use that to cause some certain action. This is the part that I think is complex, the using logic to kind of detect. It's almost like starting with the code.org, go forward, turn right. but it's got a practical application behind it. If you do it right, then it can be a really cool, powerful thing. And if you don't, then you've got to work backwards and figure out where things might have gone wrong and then correct. So. As I referenced earlier, this one is a pretty simple skill. Alexa prompts you with what food you want to look up, and you just tell it. It uses an API to look up a Google sheet that I populated from a database I found online, and it just shares the points value of the foods that you've requested. It's not a fully populated skill. I think it's got 200 foods, the 100 most popular, and then like 100 0 points foods or something like that I found online. So pretty simple, but a couple different skills or different blocks than you've seen are using this one. Yeah, so any other questions? Anything that you're curious about, or any ideas that you have about what you could use VoiceFlow for? Or blueprints, for that matter? Mm-hmm.
I have 4 devices.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them in my son's room.
Mm-hmm.
And my teenager informed me that he can do earplug. He can listen from his Alexa to my Alexa downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Not what I expected. So can you talk about some of it?
Yeah, so Amazon has a feature called Drop-In, and Drop-In allows you to automatically listen without calling, if you will, between devices. In addition to within devices in my own account, depending on my preference, I can also enable Drop-In for a grandparent or someone else that might need me to check in on them from time to time, whether it's for medications or whatever it may be.
Not if they're on a different...
You can enable it if they're on a different account. Yes, so it can be enabled. But however, by default, I don't know whether you can prevent drop-in within an account. So I've got a number of devices in my home too, and I'll occasionally use it if the music's too loud upstairs. I'll just drop in on the device and say, hey, turn your music down, son. But I don't know whether that's something that can be turned off within the settings. I can look at that when we're done.
When I get pops into my head for family, first idea was people's birthdays being in there, everybody's family birthday, and basically saying a wish list, presents they might like for their birthday, because we all call and ask each other.
Oh, sure.
No, I don't want anything. You know?
Yeah, you bet.
But you think of things as you're, well, I wish I had one of these, and I would do right now.
Sure.
And so if people would populate that, the whole family could have a list, and then it's like, well, go beyond birthdays. What if all the kids could say, you know, I need a new pair of sneakers for school?
Yeah.
And it would be a family need tree with all the members in there, and everybody has it, share it. And then as people just, you know, I wish I had the new Barbie or whatever, you know, little kids and all that, they could put stuff in there. And as they started to have different family members showing up with that, they would get much more use, right? Because it has a platform. So it's the potential for knitting families together with the system thinker behind it, right? And building it could change the dynamics and families quite a bit. Schedules are another possibility.
Yeah, within your account.
So we got a checklist that was a field text.
Oh, yeah.
From the infrastructure team. And then on the checklist, we cannot talk to them until we have some of that checklist.
I see.
Have you done that trace policy? Have you done that message policy?
Sure.
And so that would be a good idea to say, hey.
Yeah. Almost make yourself a troubleshooting bot.
Correct.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot connect to the internet. Have you checked on this? Have you done this? No. Yes. Okay. Thinking about it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, the Alexa tech department will all work.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Wasn't my idea. That was him.
No, they will say, please contact me.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
I need a real human for that, though.
Yeah, there you go.
We have one of our guys that's in Mexico that his answer was always you want to do that for you, and he will send you the link.
Uh-huh.
You want to do that for you.
Nice.
And then you always start when you get that.
Uh-huh.
But he made it very clear, you cannot come to me until you have all of these steps.
Yeah.
And then you can talk to me, and that's going to do.
Yeah.
But I think that was,
Yeah,
we created this checklist.
Sure.
So done, okay, now here's done.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think that was really even for teachers.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
We got some smart, I don't know if we can put smart devices that
Uh-huh.
lamps plug in to
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I was gonna say, so yeah, exactly. So again, not using them in the work environment, but at home, we've got our outside porch lights on a smart switch. Not necessarily because we want to use our voice, but because that way they automatically come on at dusk and they turn off at dawn. So that becomes hands off. We know the lights are always on out front, right? That's a done deal. My wife liked that one. When we're on vacation, we know the lights are always coming on, right? So don't get any ideas. Well, we also have a smart thermostat, Ecobee device. Again, I don't use my voice with that a lot, but we could. One that actually has been really transformative has been our Harmony Hub, which integrates with our TV, our Blu-ray player, our Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, all those sorts of things. So you can, my 5-year-old will say, Alexa, pause, and it will pause the TV while he's already halfway to the bathroom because he really had to go and should have gone earlier, right? But changing volume, all that stuff can be done with voice, and that's an interesting one. But I think the single biggest use in my house, and the thing that I like the best or the most about Echo devices in general, has been that we do a lot more listening to music and a lot less watching TV, because my kids can play whatever they want. You know, we go see the Lego Movie 2 and they're listening to the soundtrack. We just saw a Mary Poppins play over the weekend. I got home from work and they were listening to the Mary Poppins soundtrack, and they play it everywhere, and it's kind of, for whatever reason I think they need some stimulus, but this gives them something in the background where they can still be doing their homework or playing with Legos or whatever and not have the TV on. So that's been kind of a cool thing that I've noticed. And we've of course bought into Amazon's music plan. We'll probably buy the family plan here soon because nobody wants to listen to the same thing throughout the house. But
Speaking of listening, we've been looked at the announcements and listening to conversations, although they say that the development team is listening, and they know where the issues coming from, but they're monitoring because you can develop better apps.
yeah.
How is that playing in? Personally, and I hope that was working.
Yeah, you bet. I think if I valued my privacy, I would not have any technology device in my home whatsoever, because someone was always able to get to it, whether it's the government or Google or somebody else. Facebook, I think, is notorious for using their app to listen to what you're saying and deliver ads based on that. I think that's a personal choice. For me, I value the technology, and I mean, this kind of sounds cliche, I don't have anything to hide, so I'm not too worried about it, but I respect anyone's right to not use the tools for those reasons, for sure. And that's part of why I don't see their role in the classroom today, because I think it's different being in a classroom environment than me making a choice for my home and my family. No, I don't have a Google Home device. I've got a Chromecast at home, but there's no listening smarts with that. So I've used it on my phone, you know, but that's the extent of it for me. And that's really because the Alexa ecosystem is a lot more mature. Google's catching up, but Alexa's been around for longer. They also allowed developers to do this sort of thing earlier, and so that's a bit more mature as well.
So your first payment app, there I go, right? It's a karma generator, and you promise people positive karma if they make a payment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they'll see what happens.
There you go. Yep, you got it.
Yeah. It's What's amazing about Amazon is the traffic. The eBay phenomenon was interesting, but the traffic generated by Amazon platforms and et cetera is just like 100 times what we do. And I did that simple with selling books.
Sure.
And eBay was one thing, and Amazon just this whole
everything. Absolutely.
Part time with it, I ended up making more money on Amazon to sell it and I get paid.
Yeah. Sure. Wow.
The potential for tech solutions distributed through Amazon products to me is there, and it could be phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so you're giving us a peek at some tools, early tools. And the other thing to add to this talk is more on the Amazon developer website that you're relevant to that.
Oh, sure.
More of what you can do there.
Yeah. Okay.
Could enhance the story. Yeah. It's such a new niche.
Yeah.
It's a niche for geek expression.
Yeah. You got it.
I'm not quite sure. I had a spiritual growth level, 4 levels of spiritual growth, and the 5th levels happened to me this week. They were personal responsibility, find out your own interest, and develop them to professional level. The more things you can do to get paid for, the more economic freedom you have, because you can do different things to make money. The 2nd level was empathy, finding a product that other people need. So the idea of the bed minder, right, for elderly people, that family members could participate with using the device. Once you have come up with a good idea, the business leadership is required to expand that product or service to a lot of people. It involves getting other people to help you produce that. That's the 3rd level. 4th level is teaching, sharing what you know with other people. Now this 5th level seems to be something with tech. It seems to be tech people supporting teachers. There's this 5th level of spiritual growth that our spiritual ability is enhanced by the technological capabilities, and these kind of conferences, when similar-minded people come together, there's just something kind of mind-blowing going on here. And it's leading me to another level that I hadn't really thought about before.
So just briefly, this is what Canvas looks like with that choose your own adventure type story. So you see I've got a choice block there, and it leads to 2 trees, and then a choice and 2 trees again. So if we were to use the story that we built earlier with the needle and the balloon and the billions of dollars, this is what that would look like in this canvas. And if I click into one of these, you'll see it's got the same, this one here. It's got the same concept, except that they've changed the block that they're using to do it. So I'm going to bounce back to here actually. So we looked through some of these, and if you want to take a look at the slides, it kind of describes what each of these skills do. I wanted to show a couple things that I had up here while you were working. If you wanted to kind of get more into the technical, the first one is SSML, and this is a way to customize the way that a word sounds. So for example, if I want to emphasize billions of dollars, I can use SSML within my text in VoiceFlow to emphasize that word. I can make a word slower or faster, higher or lower pitched, emphasize it softer, things like that, using SSML. So if you really wanted to get technically precise about how a word sounds, this is a way that you can do that. That Amazon has published guides available. Sound library. So my 8-year-old wanted sound effects. So we went to the Amazon sound library, where they've got a bunch of free sounds that you can use. You can reference their links, and they integrate with VoiceFlow as well to make your skill more engaging or interactive. I talked a little bit about different ways you can test your skill. You can do it on the Alexa simulator, or you can do it within the VoiceFlow tool itself. And recently, Google Actions became possible as well. When you're using VoiceFlow to create an Alexa skill and a Google Action, it's going to show you, if you toggle between the two, what blocks are available for one platform versus the other. So you can do them both at the same time, but there are limitations of each, because Google and Amazon did not build this with the same framework in mind. So just be aware of that if you decide you want to do that. I've not gone down the path of Google Actions. The only Google action I created was actually before all this Alexa stuff, and it was using an Alexa skill to access Google on my Alexa device. So if you're interested in that, there's a published document on how you can say, Alexa, ask Google XYZ, and it will use Alexa, it'll query Google for you, and then it will actually have Google's response playing through your Alexa device. So early on, Alexa wasn't as powerful with search, and so using Google with Alexa is kind of cool later. Yeah, VoiceFlow University is their kind of learning platform, and if you're interested in VoiceFlow, I really encourage you to just check it out. They have a lot of really concise tutorial videos like what I showed you. You can learn a lot really quickly that way. There's also a really powerful community that's currently on Facebook, and they've talked about different platforms for that, but a really great group of people that are just willing to help troubleshoot, tackle problems together, brainstorm ideas together as well. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. A couple of different tools that I use in skill building. I try to use a Chromebook as much as I can, just because I see that as transferable. My kids use them at school, and they're fully capable. They can do it all when it comes to this stuff. So Pixar is what I use for that. I also use WeVideo when I'm doing videos for competitions, things like that. So. We did some of that. Just to recap, privacy implications is something we talked about. Hopefully you have a little bit better understanding of that. Both Blueprints and VoiceFlow. Hopefully you've got a basic understanding of what each of those can do and what limitations come with each of those. We obviously worked in a group together to share ideas and brainstorm stories. Thank you for participating with me in that. And then working on your own to build skills within VoiceFlow. Here's a few more links. A couple of these I've already talked about. If you're concerned about the always listening, you might check out Alias Project. It's a device that sits on top of your Echo or your Google Home. It blocks out that device's ability to listen for anything, and then it listens independently within your own home for your own word, and then it enables that device when it hears your special customer. So check that out. If you want your Alexa to be called Jarvis, for example, you can use the Alias Project to do that instead. A couple of links here regarding the privacy. So if that's something you really want to get a better handle on, I encourage you to check those out. I did not link COSI's guide because I don't know what the rules are regarding that for non-COSI members. But again, let me know if you want to talk about what they have to say about it. I think that's it. So any questions, anything else?
Yes.
Carter.
Copyright issues when you're bringing stuff in.
Yeah, so it is a concern. When I'm using images for either my icon or for the visual devices, I try to make sure that they're Creative Commons licensed or otherwise licensed in such a way that I am comfortable reusing them. So definitely something to be aware of.
We had a collage at the Franklin School District, and in the collage of pictures that were in there, somebody was trying to sue the district because one of the pictures, it was a random picture.
Wow.
And they said that should not be there.
Interesting.
Copyright issue.
Yeah.
I was concerned about that.
Yeah, definitely something to be mindful of.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else? Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Hope you understand.